Tim Myers, how are you, sir?
Stu, it is wonderful to see your face again. I'm
Likewise,
great.
my man. We live in the same city and we don't see each other enough, so let's make that like change.
That's a season of life, it seems, and there's going to be the time and place. I'm excited for that day.
Well, I know there is a season, new season for you. You have a new child, so congratulations on that. That's number two.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yep, it's been fun. Second boy, so and then even our dog is a boy, so a lot of testosterone in this house.
I'm sure your
My
wife loves that.
wife, she loves it. I've got my other son Archie just turned 3, and so we're getting like the flooring redone in the level above where I'm at, and I cleared the whole room out, and we've actually turned that into a little like hockey rink. So
Nice,
him and
dude.
I are just going, full court hockey down there, and he's a bruiser. So it's definitely been a fun journey that I'm loving so far. So
Heck yeah,
yeah.
man. Heck yeah. Yeah. My wife always says that balls aren't allowed inside the house, but that rule never gets followed, and
No.
balls are thrown all over the house all the time.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
that's fun. Congrats, man. It's cool.
Thank you.
Let's get into a little member spotlight with Military Investor Network. First, let's just kind of start with your background, who you are, where you came from, what you did in the military, and then kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll try to keep this as concise as possible. So born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania. Went to Miami, Ohio in 2010 and did ROTC there. So graduated in 14. Um, wasn't sure as like a senior. I was like, oh man, I was really weighing on, do I go active duty? Do I do guard reserves? And my dad gave me some great advice. He's like, you know what? You can do either. I think you'd be great active duty. Take a leap of faith. And I did. And it turned out to be, I would say, probably one of the best decisions of my life, which also now leaves me in a stage of confusion of what to do now because I didn't know how meaningful it all was
Mhm.
until I was out of it, right? And I think a lot of people can probably resonate with that. So commissioned in 2014, was a field artillery officer in the Army, and was at Fort Carson. Did one deployment to Afghanistan in 2018, which was a great experience. I got all of the good of being deployed without any of the bad, fortunately.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get to the transition, but I basically agreed with my then fiance, so I strategically proposed to her before deploying. It's very strategic because she did all the wedding planning when I was, deployed. I had a
Well
really,
done.
really valid excuse to not wedding plan.
That's right.
But as part of what we talked about before was, hey, I'm going to drop my packet to get out while I'm deployed, and I'm going to come home in December 2018 and get out. And we both, made peace with that decision. We were actually talking about this yesterday, her and I. I wish I would have been much more intentional, both in processing my deployment, because I got out, came home, partied for like 2 days, went back to my unit, and they're like, "Hey, just hang out for like a month, and we know you're leaving. So like, just show up, be in formation, do PT, and then don't die, and we'll see you later."
Don't die.
So I'd go snowboarding. They're like, "Yeah, just be back tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay, great." But I wasn't doing the intentional work that I needed to do at that stage of life. I mean, I was 26 and I didn't know. So anyway, got out in 2019, went through Cameron Brooks and got into a business development job in Pittsburgh. We wanted to be back closer to family. Then COVID hit. So I had come home from a deployment, gotten out, hadn't done any transition work, got into a new job in a new city. And then COVID hit. And I'm like, it was like I got hit with a flashbang. I was like, what's happening right now in
Yeah,
my
right.
life? Um, so Fast forward a couple years, wife gets pregnant with our first son. We kind of had a make or break decision where we both were longing to go back to Colorado, but we just didn't know when or what that was going to look like. Um, I it was selling real estate at the time, had my license in PA, did that for a couple years, and yeah, I remember I was in Mexico at a buddy's wedding, and my wife calls me. She's like, there's a job in Denver that I can take. I'm gonna apply." And I was like, "Wow." Okay, let's go. Let's do it. I'm game. So all works out, moved back out here in 2022. Got into some like startups in the real estate tech space. And then now I've moved closer to more like meaningful impact type work. And actually through you, thank you for the introduction, Stu. Um, and working at a company, self-defense and training company, doing some operational consulting for them now. So we'll see what that turns into. Not too sure yet. So
I love it, dude. Yeah, man, it's been fun getting to know you more and hanging out. I was joking that we don't see each other. And we haven't seen each other in just a little bit, but we do get to see each other and do coffees and hang out, and it's been
Mhm.
fun, man. Um, you talked about well, let's get into the transition a little bit. You talked about you didn't have a lot of time to really retrospect on it and really figure out that transition. Um, what was that like?
It was hard. It still is hard. And
Yeah,
you know what? I was one of the people that was like, it's gonna be fine. Like everything always works out. Like this blind, altruistic 26-year-old, everything always works out. Well, it does for sure. That doesn't mean it's not without challenge, though.
yeah.
And I just really did not anticipate. Probably the biggest thing was the identity shift
Mm,
because I didn't realize I did ROTC started when I was 18. So from I guess 18 to 26, like my whole like identity, more than I realized, was wrapped up in like service and serving your country and the men and women to your left and right, and just like those bonds, that camaraderie, the shared struggle and challenge that you overcome collectively. Like that was all so meaningful. And I really didn't know that until boom, pulled the rug and I'm out. And I remember thinking to myself, I was up late one night in 2019. I was probably 6 months into my first job out, and my platoon sergeant called me, and it was one of those late night calls that you're glad you get, and it ends up turning out okay.
yeah.
But it really like left me thinking. I was like, I didn't understand how like meaningful all of this was to me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So let me just try to make as much money as I can and on the civilian side, and then I'll buy my freedom. Like
Mm,
I will buy my way into just being financially free. And so that led me down the path to like real estate. And, all of that was, I think, with the best of intentions initially. And then it just turned out to be like, what are you really trying to do here? Because it was kind of like a mismatch at a very fundamental level because I hadn't done the work of realizing like, well, who am I after all this? And like, how do I go on and turn into somebody else essentially that's going to be husband, father? What does that look like? And yeah, it was just really interesting. So it's still a work in progress, man.
yeah.
As I know, it probably is for a lot of folks. But it's a learning lesson for sure.
Let me ask you this. Do you
Yeah.
think that camaraderie, that brotherhood, that feeling of identity and sense of purpose, do you think that can be found in the civilian world, in the business world, in the investment world?
That's a really good question.
And I don't have an answer to it because I'm asking that myself.
I know. And you know what? The that question is what has like kind of steered what I've been doing outside of the military. It's almost like I've been trying to recreate it in a way.
Mm,
I've been really, really fortunate. My best friend that I served with, he has like a community where, it's not an accountability group, but it's very much like an intentional framework for living
mm,
called the Waymaker Community. And we engage with other guys every single day. We, post our workouts. He has this new tool where it's like an intentional reflection that you post every day, which is awesome. He just came out with it. But man, I don't know where I'd be without those guys because that's the closest thing I've found is something like that, where you're just in constant communication and engagement with those that think like you, maybe have some shared history. Um, but the answer to that question is like what I am truly searching for out here. And I don't know what that is, right? Maybe it hits on what you and I were talking about before we started recording, which is like a business of some kind where um, we are answering that question. And maybe it looks like men's retreats. Maybe it looks like a development center where there's a gym and you can do jujitsu and shooting. Like, I don't know what that looks like. I also don't have $10 million to build that structure that I'm describing. So, but the answer to that question is what I've been after. So, yeah, very good question.
Continuing on the discussion of transition, military to civilian life, like what do you feel like you learned in the military that has been a positive to transition into the business world, the civilian world? Like, what have you taken from that time in the military and transferred it, and that's been like helpful for you?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I mean, probably the biggest thing that, at least like young officers experience is, you learn the technical side of what your job is, whatever it is, but you don't have the experience. And so you go in and you really get, you know, served up a slice of humble pie and you have to really be like show some humility. And I remember doing that early on. I was like, guys, I know the technical components of fire direction or fire support or anything artillery, but I've never done this before, at least in like an
Yeah.
operational combat level. And um, that went a long way with like the NCOs and soldiers I had. And I was blessed with like really, really awesome guys and girls in my unit. But I think just showing up and being like, look, I'm going to give this my all, but I don't have the answers that experience lends itself to. So, like, I'm going to need to lean on you for that. And then collectively, we will work together and we will succeed. And that mindset, goes a long way. I can see on the civilian side. Because sure, maybe you go get your MBA or you're trained in whatever, but if you don't have that experience yet, you just have to like approach it with humility and, let other people in on that. And you don't need to posture or like fake it till you make it. It's like just say that very candidly, like, I don't know yet, but we're gonna do this together. And then the
Mm.
other thing I would say on that quickly is just like the figure it out mentality that you get thrown into in the military. It's like, here's your resources, go figure it out. And you do that. And that in and of itself is like it's almost like a forging of your confidence. And so when you get out on the civilian side, it's like, oh, well, I've done way more difficult things than what this is. And
Yeah,
I figured that out. So I think I can figure this out. And this is all like internal framing and dialogues and stuff. But yeah, those a couple things that just came to mind.
that's good, man. I like that. Well, you got into the investing world too. Um, and we even worked with some real estate companies here in Colorado, and then you were working real estate in Pittsburgh where you were. Um, what I guess why did what enticed you about getting kind of into the real estate investing space?
Yeah, it's funny that the real candid answer is it ties back to that night I mentioned earlier where I was like, I guess I'll just buy my freedom, right? Or I'll set the mechanism in place such that I've got financial freedom, right? Because 2019, like around COVID, that was the all the hotness on social media and like the influencers were like, come buy my course and I'll teach you everything you need to know for $52,000. It's like,
Heck of a
great,
deal.
sign me up. So the intentions weren't because initially I was so like infatuated with buildings and but I did definitely have like a curiosity on like it's just numbers as far as investing goes and like that was enticing to me and um I'd say we're like a little bit sour currently on where things are in the real estate investing world for us personally me and some of the guys I'm partnered with but I do believe like there will be a resurgence at some point. I don't yet know what that looks like. But we've definitely kind of taken a step back and a pause as like my main partner and I kind of grow our families and figure out our life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think, man, I think you're right with kind of just there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of gurus out there trying to sell their courses and how like hunky dory, life is. You buy a rental property and it's passive income and
yeah.
you just buy like 10 of them and then you're like, you know, living. amazingly with financial freedom and
Nope, no problems in life whatsoever.
yeah, no issues, no challenges, no setbacks, no negative cash flow. And, there's all these, yeah, there's a lot of hype and man, some of it's really hard. Like I have some investments that are really hard and that have been negative cash flow for a long time, and I all I want to do is get rid of it, but I can't. Um,
Yep.
and it's hard, and I know you have some of those too, and it's it's not all unicorns and rainbows all the time, and I think that's important to say. I think
Yeah,
that's important to say, somewhere like this, in a community, in a network, that, yeah, sometimes real estate investing kind of sucks.
for sure.
Like
Yeah,
there are,
know what you're getting into. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Let's talk about some of your investments. Like first, like what have you been doing in the investing world? And then I want to talk about like kind of your best and your worst investments.
Yeah, so really back 20, we'll say like officially 2021. So a guy I served with and I partnered, and then his uncle actually, the three of us partnered on a short-term rental in Sevierville or Sevier. I never say it right. Sevierville. Some people say Sevierville, Tennessee,
Okay.
Gatlinburg. So
The
we had
Smokies.
the Smokies, yeah, yeah. So that was probably the best one, but we won't go there yet. But so that was one. We did some flips, had a couple rentals sold. So now we're down to just the Airbnb and one rental in Pittsburgh that we are trying to get rid of as well. Tenant issues. That one's been a crazy one. So a couple of flips in there in the middle that went pretty well. We're very fortunate to have Derek's uncle on the ground handling the day to day there, whereas Derek and I are a little bit more. I'm the most passive and hands off, um, but his uncle Frank has like delivered time and time again. So that's kind of another good lesson is if you're not going to be local, get a phenomenal partner that you
Mm.
can rely on and trust.
Have a team, boots on
Yep.
ground wherever you're investing.
Yep. Yep.
1000% agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, what is your best investment? You kind of mentioned it.
Yeah, I would say just from equity alone, the Airbnb property, because we bought it, I think 2021. And it's generally, cash flowed a little bit here and there, nothing crazy, but it's more of an equity play and one that I think we'll hold on to for quite a while. So it's appreciated pretty well. And it's um Derek's sister manages it as like a host. And it's not without its, like we had like a well issue and HVAC and carpenter bees. Like sure, it has its own stuff, but all in all, that's probably the best one so far.
The Airbnb community has been interesting. We have some other guys that are in Military Investor Network that are Airbnb investors, and there's different, strategies even within Airbnb of different locations and ideas and property types. Um, I've heard a lot recently that just in general, this is a general statement, Airbnb is starting to underperform and it's saturated. Similar to like we were talking about the gurus and they hype a certain thing up, they hype mobile home park investors, so then everyone wants to go do mobile home park investing, including me, and that's probably my worst investment. And like, so there's all this hype, so everyone goes and does it, and then it's saturated. Have you seen that as a case, in the Smokies, and specifically Smokies were like so talked about.
Yeah, they were really hot for a while. And
Yeah,
I think to your point though that there was that kind of industry wide like peak and then it went down a little bit. And like to be honest with you, currently I haven't been keeping my pulse on it very much. My
yeah.
focus has been elsewhere, but I definitely agree with you in that like we got in not quite at the top, but it was on the ascending part of it and it probably peaked. I just a guess, 2022. Property values in Gatlinburg were just way, way up. I mean, the appreciation was like insane to see, and it's really funny because when I was in college, we used to go to Gatlinburg, like our fraternity, and I mean, we did things in that cabin that, like, if I had tenants do that and like saw it, I'd be like, "You will never come back here ever."
You were banned
Uh,
for life.
I mean, you're 20, 21 year
Yeah,
old fraternity kids, and you got
yeah.
you bring dates, and you're just being stupid, and so. but that was in like 2012, and I was looking at some numbers from the area then and comparing it to like when we bought. I was like, oh my gosh, like if you, it's kind of like Colorado, right? If I'd have bought in the Springs in 2015 when I lived there, my
Yeah.
life would probably be a little different now, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. Hindsight's 2020. So yeah.
What about your worst investment?
Well, we're still trying to get out of that one. So it was a single family in Pittsburgh, actually pretty close to where I live. We wanted to do like a Section 8 type of deal. So we were going to go in and do a burr strategy on anything you can think of that could like potentially go wrong with a real estate transaction. I am not joking, you has on this one. It is wild. Even the agent we used was like, I've in 22 years, I have never seen anything. This is an anomaly of epic proportions. And I'm like, I feel great. Um, but all the way from like handing over the keys to us before it was closed, we got investigated for fraud on the hard money loan because the rehab was done in such a short timeline, and we did a draw on one request. And so they're like, hold on a second, you did all this material and labors in how long? Oh, well, we already thought it was closed. So there's a fraud investigation. We were cleared. Obviously, we're not criminals. And so it's just been crazy, right? Then eventually, fast forward after tons of stuff I won't share, we got a tenant in there that non-paying. Now we're going through the eviction process, and it's just been one thing after another. And that's the kind of thing that I think if you experience it really can leave a sour taste in your mouth. I know it has me, where I'm like, look at all the time, money, well, money we've lost. And just like disparaging different experiences through it. You have to weather that storm and realize like that's a part of the game. You're going to have a loser, right? But you could have another winner in 5 years that could way outperform that, and it's probably okay long term. So we'll see.
Yeah, dude, it's tough. Have you had a meth lab? Have you had a meth lab happen in the house? Because that
Well,
would be the top of the game, and I'll say that because I've had it.
in a single family, where was that?
No, it was actually in the mobile home park. And sorry, of course, my
Oh,
dog
okay.
decides to start barking while
Oh,
we're recording.
that's all good.
Um, but yeah, no, the mobile home park. We had actually the property manager I think was running the meth lab. So,
Oh my gosh. That's like out of a Netflix show, I feel like.
dude,
That's insane.
totally. Yeah, man, it's not all unicorns and rainbows. It definitely
Yeah.
isn't. And I think that this is. I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Just to put everything in perspective, right? Like there are some bad deals. There are some bad investments.
It'll wipe you
Um,
out. Yeah, if you're not careful. Have some safeguards in place and just know what you're getting into. Have multiple different exit strategies, which we've tried to exercise. And
yeah,
fortunately, we're going to be able to weather it. It's not like it's a $500,000 house, right? That's the other thing too.
yeah,
This is $100,000 house in Pittsburgh, so it's not going to be material long term. So that's good.
yeah. I'm rereading a book right now. This is kind of timely. Um, Keith Cunningham's book, The Road Less Stupid,
Nice.
and like he talks a lot about just like thinking time and really questioning everything and like asking yourself deep questions and then like thinking on it and journaling and writing and answer those questions. And like three questions he said you should always ask before. I think I posted on this today on LinkedIn. It's like you should ask, what's the upside? That's easy to answer because we're always really excited about a business investment or decision.
Mm.
What's the downside? Right. And that's a little bit harder to answer yourself. So sometimes you need to bring some people in, have some outside advice. And the third one is, are you going to be okay with the downside? Right. What happens worst case scenario? And are you going to be okay with that? And I think that's a question that we rarely ask ourselves because we're
Yeah.
just so excited about the upside. Right. And I think like if I was to go back and look at some of my terrible investments, I don't think asked those questions. Like the second two questions, what's the downside, and am I going to be okay with that downside?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's it. I love that. It's a great framework. And I mean, that could be applied outside of real estate investing too. That could be a job opportunity. That could be another
100%.
investing opportunity. And it's interesting though, because if you think about like the human brain is like wired for negativity, right? That's what stands out. That's all of our algorithms, right? That's like pulling us apart from each other is all this negativity. Um, so it's interesting that that we don't weigh that, and we like it's almost like we tell ourselves convenient details because we're so excited about it, but we just somehow fail to realize like the crazy downside that could occur. If my wife listened to this, she would laugh because this is like my
She's
pitfall
like,
as
I
well.
told you so.
Oh yeah, she's right about all this stuff, by the way.
Yeah,
And
of
I'm just
course.
like, in hindsight, I'm like, you were right. I'm sorry. I should have listened. Like, that's funny.
Yeah, that spidey sense that females have, and they're like,
You
nope,
got
don't
it.
do it. You gotta listen to it. You gotta listen to it.
Yes, yes, 100%.
That's good, man. Well, if you had to go back, looking back, just kind of through all of this, what advice would you tell yourself, back when you were like 20 years old, or maybe when you were starting the military?
Yeah, I think just think long term, think intentionally, and then do a lot of work on like a values inventory. What do you value, right? And are they actually your values, or is it something that was programmed in you from childhood based on like a fear of money, for example, right? I don't know, just as an example, but and I realize that's hard for a 20-year-old to do. I certainly couldn't do it. I was worried about when I was going to go to happy hour and hang out with buddies, and like that's fun, but it's hard to think when you're a 33-year-old, 43-year-old plus. I certainly would have been more intentional with my values and then just thinking longer term past, I don't know, I'm going to go active duty. I'll probably get out, go into business. I'll figure it out. It'll work out. That's not a plan. That's not a strategy. So, yeah, I'd say that the key word there is just intentionality.
That's good, man. Yeah, I think a lot of 20-year-olds don't even that's not even a word in their radar.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But those that can do it, like it's funny, my brother-in-law, my wife's youngest brother is quite a bit younger, and he's in college now. And man, this kid has got his head on his shoulders. He's like in finance, like doesn't drink, doesn't really party, like he just doesn't need to. He's just like a happy, content, smart kid. Like, man, why wasn't I like that as a 20-year-old? I was a psychopath. Like, come on. So anyway, but not everyone can do that, but there certainly are, kids that can, and I hope that my sons are two of them that can.
That's right. The way it's looking right now, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the questionable.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what would you ask of the Military Investor Network if you this is your opportunity to, ask them for anything, offer advice, ask them for advice for those that are going to be watching this and listening to this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say like on the advice side, if anyone listens to this and is like, man, I can really resonate with what a tough military transition has looked like, and they're on the other side of that where they found meaningful work that they, feel like they're not working or they really enjoy or they've got that purpose, that mission back, that fire back, and they're able to provide for their family. If you've got that figured out, please call me. No. So only half joking there. But that would be super helpful. And then just, yeah, any kind of opportunities, I think that would be in alignment with what we're talking about. I'm always kind of trying to figure out what's next longer term. Again, the position I'm in now could turn to something longer term. I don't yet know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I would say probably those two things. Do you think that was specific enough?
Hey, that's great, man. I
Yeah.
love it. How do people get in touch with you? Those that are not in Military Investor Network, what's the best way for them to reach out and contact you?
Yeah, let's see. Probably don't want to give out my phone number or
This
social
is going
media.
live on YouTube, so yeah, don't do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Let's see.
LinkedIn, you want me to put your LinkedIn?
Yeah, actually LinkedIn would be great.
Yeah,
If you don't mind dropping that in, that would be probably the best way. Thank you.
you're welcome. Dude, I love you. It's
I love you too.
good to see you on Zoom. Let's see each other in person real soon.
I'd love to.
And I appreciate this conversation, man. It was real.
Yeah.
It's important to have real conversations like this. And yeah, man, guys and gals, reach out to Tim. And he's an amazing human. Um, Tim, thanks, bud.
Thank you, brother. Love you too, man.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.